President of Paid Media at Career Now Brands. I got into digital marketing about 10, 11 years ago. Started on Google, but you know, Facebook's a massive platform and really spread out far beyond Google. So I run ads on Quora, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, Waze, Bing, the list goes on and on. And so I work at a company called Career Now Brands. We're a digital marketing agency, and we focus on really getting butts in seats. As weird as that sounds, we get truck drivers connected with trucking jobs, and we get people connected with skilled trade schools. And we do this entirely through digital media. And so we're very focused on generating leads, capturing attention, and getting the right message in front of the right person. Because, you know, a lot of these values are very transferable in terms of persuasion online, and it really comes down to, you know, finding the right in-market audience, then delivering a persuasive message, and then following up on that message with you know, with a compelling experience that drives the user towards the action that you need them to take. So I guess I think that's enough about me. We spend about over 10 million a year on Facebook ads. I've been doing that for about 6 years. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. So I'm going to switch over to the screen share. You know, nice face, but it's got to go. Okay. Oh, I started at the end here. Oops. Oh, all the way to the top. All right. So let me move this off. Okay. So the purpose for this presentation today is to give you guys an actionable toolkit that you can use to promote your own franchises. And really my goal for this is let you know, really let you know about some of the potential pitfalls where, you know, I maybe wasted, I don't even want to say numbers, but where I maybe wasted too much money, but then figured that found out some nice wins. So I'll show you the process, a general overview, and then also a few key points to keep mind of. So first, we'll start with what is Facebook marketing. It's a massive display ad network. Now the term display ads is very vague. It really just means it's an ad that is displayed to a user that is not through as a result of a specific action that the user took to deliver that ad. So they're largely audience driven. They can be placement driven. But yeah, display is a very broad term. So with this, within Facebook marketing, you serve ads on Facebook, Instagram, and the Audience Network. The Audience Network is a collection of like over 1 million apps that basically anytime you see an app has like a login with Facebook option, and even a lot of times when they don't, they opt into the Facebook Audience Network. What this does for them is they can charge higher CPMs for the ad serves because advertisers are able to have more rich information about who's on the platform, and you have the massive inventory of you know, the Facebook advertiser network bidding on those individuals. It ends up being a good deal for the publishers. So Facebook Audience Network is a nice thing to drive incremental reach. I wouldn't expect it to drive more than, I'd say at most 10% of the volume for any given campaign. Yeah, and the real benefits of these placements is that you have incredible audience data. This isn't just the information that you input onto Facebook. This is based on data sharing partners like Acxiom. They go in and enrich Facebook audience data. This is based on offline purchases, credit card data. It might be a little scary, but you know, we're on the marketing side here, so it's good for us. All right, and then the key thing to be mindful of when you're serving ads on Facebook and Instagram is that users are in a discovery mindset. It's quite different from say a search ad placement, where when you're serving a search ad, users entered a specific search and they expect a specific outcome. So your goal for a search ad is just to align on the basically to answer the query that the user searched and deliver upon that. Whereas with Facebook marketing, it's a little bit different. It's you're really more capturing on latent needs, and the users enter into the platform not really knowing what they want. Like when you go on Facebook, it's like, yeah, 5-10 minutes here. It's just a little bored, and you want to discover. You want to see what's new. So it's a great spot for ads to be interjected into, because users are receptive, because they don't know if that next post is going to be something that they're really interested in. And we'll give a bit of a high-level marketing theory, and I touched on it a little bit before. So sales and marketing can be distilled into a 3-link chain. And really, if any aspect of this is weak, you just won't get that end result of being able to carry any weight. So it's audience, message, experience, and you can swap out. There's been other versions of this, like the who, the what. Anyways, but this is the one I like, is audience, message, and experience. And how that applies to Facebook ads is for the audience. Think about who you're communicating with. Like, who do you want to get in front of? You control this through the audience curation, but also through the location targeting and the settings around that. So you want to curate an audience that is in market and able to buy for your offer. Next is, now that you have an audience that you reasonably assume is in market, and that can be, we'll dive into that quite a bit more in a bit here, is you want to think about what you're telling them, and also the placement that you're telling them in. They're in a discovery mindset, and there's not really any inherent urgency in this placement. So a pitfall that a lot of advertisers go through is, like, they say, hey, I just, I put my ad out there and I'm not getting any results. And it's because, okay, all you did was just tell them what you do. And that can be great in some settings. Like a search setting, that'd be perfect. That'd be excellent, because if what you do aligns with what they stated that they want, success. But on Facebook ads, you really want to think about how you can be compelling and drive an action now. And with that, that leads right into the experience. So the experience is, it's whatever the post-click experience is from the initial message. It's and this can be, like, maybe your ads drive to a messenger conversation. Maybe they drive to a landing page, which could be have a form on it where they can request a quote, or maybe it's there's quite a few other options, like a lead ads form, and or like an incident experience ad. But anyways, we'll get into that. So you want to make sure that, and really all those experiences are the same in terms of how you treat them and how you think about them. And what you want to do is, one, reaffirm the promise that you made in the message, because the user was interested in that first message. So you want to drill back in to, just reaffirming, hey, we're not doing a bait and switch. This is, we're delivering on the expectations that we set within the ad. And then be clear about the action that you want the user to take. So an example of this for College Pro could be something like, okay, you maybe in the ad, and I'm just pulling this out of the air, Maybe in the ad you offer a 15% discount for returning customers. You say like customer appreciation month, or customer appreciation week. Keep it more time sensitive. And then say for a limited time, we're offering a 15% discount for returning customers. The audience that you serve that ad to is people who are in your existing customer database. We'll talk about how to identify exclusively those individuals. And then on the landing page, whatever that post-click experience is.
Benefit workers from no reply.
What's this?
You're good. We just had a scenario where someone went off mute. So I'll keep an eye out on that. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah. And yeah, so you just want to make sure that whatever that offer is, whatever that hook is that you're driving, that's motivating that action now, is followed up on the landing page. You don't want to run an experience where, hey, I've got this amazing ad where I'm delivering this compelling offer, and then I send them to a landing page where I don't reference it. Because what that does is it inspires distrust, and it's just not a good practice. The marketing term for this is called scent, SCENT, and it's about carrying, and it also involves like carrying over visual elements, but it's really more driven by carrying over that promise and that theme from the ad into the post-click experience. And then you want to also do everything you can to make it easy for the user. Like let's say if to qualify a lead you only need, and this probably isn't applicable for you, but maybe you only need zip code, maybe you don't need their full address. Well, then only ask for their zip code. Or maybe you don't need their age, or you don't need their, just really try and distill down to only the essential information for your business needs when requesting information from a user, because each incremental request reduces conversion rate. All right, so marketing process overview. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick pass through of roughly what this is, and then I'm gonna do a screen share of exactly what it is, of showing you an actual account, mostly setting it up. I'm not gonna put in my credit card info, sorry guys, but I'll show you all the steps and the screens that are involved in that. And then after this, I'm also going to be sending over like clear step-by-step guides. Oh, nice drawings. Oh, that is excellent. Clear step-by-step guides on how to do all this. And those are, the step-by-step guides weren't made by me, but they're the training tools that I have everyone in my department go through before they get access to the ads managers. So quick overview: ads manager setup, payment method, account access. So this is going to be regarding permissions for these accounts. Each one of you guys is going to want to share admin access to the business manager account for College Pro. And this isn't just a control thing. This also gives you extra resources. And so what this does is this allows College Pro to have one centralized hub where they can then share data sources. They can share, like they can pass pixel events back. Like there's a ton of benefits from your perspective on having the account access linked to a business manager account. We'll discuss tracking, and we'll discuss how to make audiences. So ad management. So we've gone through this a bit here, and it comes down to, you select the audience. This can be done through Facebook has a ton of different audience segments that you can hit. And these are based on both on Facebook and off Facebook actions that people take. Facebook buys a ton of data, pairs it with accounts. And so as a marketer, you have a lot of very rich targeting parameters you can use. Unfortunately, and one that I hear a lot of that just I would love to think it's true, but as I dug into it, I haven't been able to find anything that points me to think that it could be, is that Facebook listens to you. I don't know. I hear people talking about that a lot, but really what it is Facebook has very rich audience targets, and the people that end up getting served ads have performed other actions outside of just talking, and they can be precursor actions. They can be sharing friends. They can be there's a whole slew of actions that people can take to be bucketed into different categories. But so far, haven't been able to find that that Facebook is listening to your mic and using that for your ads targeting. So ends up being that you're in market, you talk about these things, and a certain percentage of the time, stuff you're talking about ends up getting served to you. Okay, location targeting. Location targeting is going to be absolutely critical for the success of these campaigns. There's a simple little drop down, and I'll reiterate this, so don't worry, I'll make sure to hit this. There's a simple little drop down for the people that you're targeting. You can target everyone in, or people who live in a certain targeted area. So let's say you're targeting 20 miles around Windsor, and you're excluding the United States. You'd want to make sure that you're not serving to people who are just visiting, coming over from Detroit and going to the casino, because they may very well fall into your targeting parameters of like a lookalike audience, or sharing similar characteristics to past customers, or to that they're homeowners, or there's a whole slew of it. But if you do that simple drop down of selecting to only target people that live in the targeted area, that'll save you a lot of wasted ad serves. Ad creation. So there's a lot of options for ad creation. We're gonna start with just making Facebook and Instagram ads. There are customizations you can make for the audience network placements, and for a number of other placements like Facebook story ads, Instagram story ads. And I'll show you how to make those, but it's it might make sense to just keep diving in and thinking about how you can, like, taking these principles and thinking about how you can create a compelling offer for those placements. Conversion paths. So there's a number of different ways that a user can connect with you after seeing an ad. So they see your ad. Now what's next? Is it that they click the link and they go to a landing page? That's pretty standard, and it's very good. But there's also two other options that I think could be quite good for you guys. Lead ads. Lead ads are excellent for collecting customer information. What they are is it's basically an on Facebook simple landing page creator. So it's so basically, the user clicks the ad, they see a quick preview where you have the opportunity to just reaffirm the user that yes, we are following up on the promise that we made in the ad, and then it takes them to a form field. Now, these form fields will be mapped and pre-filled for the user based on whatever information they've provided to Facebook. Now, you can ask additional custom questions, like, for instance, maybe you're asking, do you want to get your windows cleaned within the next 6 months? I don't know. Is just an example. Who is drawing here? Trouble. But so yeah, maybe you want to ask them, like, who got their windows cleaned or wants their windows cleaned in the next 6 months. So that'd be an example of a custom question field. I believe you can ask up to 3 of those that are outside of the predefined question options, which are like name, email, phone number, date of birth. There's a whole slew of them. But anyways, so those ones won't be pre-filled. But any ones that request data that the individual has already shared with Facebook will be pre-filled. So it ends up reducing a lot of friction for the user in that they can see the offer, they can see the promise, they see that they're at that point, it's something that they're interested in, and it just helps reduce the steps. Now, once that user submits, there's a variety of things that you can do with that information. You can connect it into like a data pipe, and you can push it into a CRM. You can send it out. I don't know, wherever you want to work the lead, you can have it fire there. The next option that I thought could be interesting is a messenger ad, or rather a messenger destination. So what this is it's an ad that serves on your Facebook newsfeed, and rather than seeing a little apply now button, or like request quote button, you'd see a little chat now button, and what that does is it allows you to talk to your customers in real time, or your potential customers in real time. So then it's maybe you make a sort of bold claim within the ad, and the user is interested, curious, and you want to persuade them from, or like through that, like, yes, this is absolutely a promise that we can deliver on. That can be a good conversion path to booking appointments. So we'll cover those. What's going to be best? No idea. Really, that's for the testing results to determine and dictate. So testing is critical to Facebook marketing, and really any performance marketing or marketing in general. So you want to make sure that you're measuring, looking at what won, looking at what didn't, ensure that you have statistical significance in your results, and then focusing on what won. So to make an ad account, it's incredibly easy. So all you do is just click this link. So if anyone wants to follow along right now, you're welcome to just type in right on your browser, HTTPS. Yeah, I'm not going to read that though. But just exactly what's on the screen there. All right. So now we are in the new Facebook ad account. Now you'll see that it's just completely empty, and it almost looks like. And is anyone having any issues with this? Is it loading bizarrely? I did a few QAs on this, but I'm just gonna go forwards, assuming that that's working all right.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I'm in at least. I'll validate just off mic there. Yeah.
Great. And so once you get in here, this is really just an account skeleton. So like nothing's been populated. You have no data sources. You have you have nothing. But you can. So you want to go and click the very top gear. There's two gears. You want to click the very top one, and that'll take you into settings. From settings, you want to navigate down to payment settings, and it is also important that you do populate the business information. So I may breeze through this a bit. Might not be quite enough time for everyone to get fully set up, but you'll see. Let me know if you can. Can you see the screen that I just brought on to the page? Yep. So you go to so you're in settings. You see ad account setup. You do need to set up your business address and like your business name in order to use custom audiences. So it's just, I don't know if everyone has all this information on hand, but it's important. Next, you'll see the pages that you have access to. So yeah, this is my old Facebook account. I got rid of it when I went to university. But yeah, Prospect Park, DIY skate park. So you'll see, so you should see your page there if you have admin privileges on it, which if you created it, you inherently will. So you can just validate that you do see that there. For payment settings, you'll want to go into add a payment method. Now, I highly recommend setting an account spending limit. Facebook is entirely unforgiving when it comes to you putting a few extra zeros in your daily spend. Because at the end of the day, you bought that inventory, and if there's a loophole that people can exploit, people will. I had a guy on my team like a couple months ago. It was supposed to be, this daily spend was supposed to be for like a particular account, it's supposed to be like $35.56. And he ended up setting the daily spend to $3,500 or $3,556. And so that was painful. And there was nothing we could do about it. We paid the bill. Just was what it was. So errors that you make are your errors. And so I highly recommend setting an account spending limit. All right. Now, so once you've set that up, you can go into selecting, or we can build audiences. So that's after you've got the business profile set up. So we'll create audiences. Now this is what we're running through here is called custom audiences, and they are, so an example of that, there's a handful of data sources that you can create custom audiences from, namely, it's either going to be website traffic, past customer lists, or on Facebook activity. Those are the three main categories. And there's a little more, but those are the main ones. And so to do this, you hit the little, I don't know what we want to call that, little grid of 9 up on the left here. And then you'll select audiences, boom. And then from that, you'll see like create custom audiences, create lookalike audience, create saved audiences. Now, it's you can't actually create any lookalike audiences yet because lookalike audiences are all based off of custom audiences. And so you'll select custom audiences. Now, let me, oops. So I'm gonna give you just an actual walkthrough on this. Now, pardon, this is an old paused work account. So, now my view there is going to look a little bit different than yours, but once you click the create audiences, this is all going to be the exact same. So like from what I walked you up to here, so right here is where it comes back into being the same workflow. So when you're uploading the customer audience list, it's important to make sure that the data is formatted in the correct way. And so I'm just gonna go through here and show you some examples of that. Now this one is, does your list include a column for customer value? Now what this is this is not really going to be relevant for data sets that are below like 100,000, just because basically the segmentation that it needs to do to actually identify populations that are more likely to deliver those higher results. It's just you really don't get any value with the data set under 100,000. So I'd say you can avoid it. I mean, it won't do any harm if you do load it in, but it just also won't really do any benefit. Oops, did I click the wrong button? Okay, so we're gonna upload a file. So this is create an audience from a customer list. We're uploading a file, loading social selling lookalike removed, DNC2. Oh yeah, removed DNC2. So I noticed in the data upload, there's a DNC appended to the phone numbers. So I went through and removed that from the spreadsheet. I just did a simple find and replace. And here we go. So it's uploaded. Next. Now we see the mapped fields. So it says 1 is, so email has been identified. Okay, so that's great. Now there's another field. So like within this data set, we're looking at both, we're looking at both, email and phone number. So what we see on phone number is, okay, so it didn't initially identify that it was a phone number. Now let's see why. All right, so Facebook gave us the notification letting us know that phone numbers must include a country code to be used for matching, even if they're all from the same country. So these are examples of acceptable phone formats. So what you can do is just go through, find and replace, or basically anyone who's good at Excel, just lean on them. And actually, don't lean on them. Ask them how, learn how to do it for yourself. And then just clean up the data, and then you can get the phone numbers to match. Now the emails are going to be just fine. So progress, have like 8,800 that'll say got loaded in, something around that. And what that means, what it was saying there, is that it was currently being hashed, is so Facebook takes a number of steps to protect the identity of the data that's transferred into the system. So it's basically it's just anonymizing it. So if you share the anyways, it does come into play if you're thinking about like compliance around like user information and transferring user information, because it's an encrypted format. So it's useful, probably not useful right now though. Okay, so I loaded one in about an hour ago, and now what we see here is we loaded in 8,000 records, 8,800 records, but what we see is what's addressable here is 4,000 members. So what that means is Facebook's not able to identify a one-to-one match on all emails or phone numbers that get loaded in. So what I recommend is loading in a list of emails and then loading in a list of phone numbers, and that'll increase your total match rate from a specific audience that you're trying to reach. So from the 8,800, only 4,000 addressable, still good. And actually it is still enough to build a lookalike audience off of. I really don't like building a lookalike audience off of anything less than 3,000. And diminishing returns per Facebook's guidance, diminishing returns on the quality of the lookalike audience if the seed audience exceeds 10,000 members. Now that's different if you're including customer lifetime or like customer value or like order value, then you're going to want more about like 100,000. But for a standard lookalike, it's 10,000 is really the max, like the max that you get any incremental benefit from. But 4,000 is still good. So I'll show you how to create a lookalike audience here. And a lookalike audience is really just Facebook runs a cluster analysis on the identifying what what traits does this data set share in common? Like what statistically significant traits rather does this data set have in common? Like, is this audience leaning typically more towards parents, or is it leaning more towards apartment owners, or is it leaning, so they pair that against all the available data that they have on these individuals, and work to create a relevant in-market audience of people who share similar traits to the data set that you uploaded. So it's actually, it's a very powerful tool. So we're going to create a lookalike audience. So I just click create audience. So now we want to select your lookalike source. Social selling. Got to select your region, Canada. And now what these audience size mean is that regardless of what your data source is, if you select a 10% audience, actually I'll keep this simple right now. If you make a 10% audience, that means you're going to hit 10% of the total population. So Facebook still will identify people. Let's say you only put 200 people in your seed audience, like that custom audience. Well, and then you go and create a lookalike audience on it. Well, Facebook is still going to find, you know, if it's in the States and you create a 1% lookalike, it's still going to find a 1.9 million member audience to target based on that. But the thing is, they're just, the members in that audience that Facebook identified won't be very closely linked to the audience that you populated. It's just, you haven't fed them enough data. So when we're targeting Canada, if you do a 10% audience, it's always going to be, you know, what, 3 million? 3.5 million? I can't remember. I'm Canadian and I can't even remember how big Canada is right now. But anyways, so I recommend starting smaller, and then if you don't have success with the 1%, you're quite unlikely to have success with the 3%. So I would recommend starting smaller and then scaling your way up. So we can, boom. Takes about an hour for the cluster analysis to be completed and populated. Sometimes like 90 minutes, can vary a little bit. But even if it's still in the populating phase, you can still add it to campaigns and ad sets, and while it's populating, there's just no inventory for the ads to serve to. So it's really not an issue. You can, don't worry about this holding up your workflow in terms of launching, because it goes pretty quick. All right. So now we'll go back to Ads Manager. And then maybe, oh yeah, so I want to invite everyone to ask questions too. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and then Clarissa or Aaron will message me and let me know about some of those questions. But so feel free to ask them in real time. We'll do a larger QA at the end here, and oh, 28 chats. Okay. Oh, these are good questions. Okay. All right, Dakota Srivet. What would you say is the most critical demographic information to gather when creating a Facebook audience with our previous customers? I would say just their phone number and email. Like if the goal for this is to hit people that, you know, are your past customers, and let's say you're trying to warm up a specific audience that you're going to cold call on, you know, hit them with some ads, get a frequency of 4 or 5 in the week before you call them. Let's say you're hitting 500 people, you know, a 4 or 5 frequency on that audience over the course of a week is only going to cost you maybe $20, 20 to maybe $40. And then you've conditioned these people. You've gotten your offer right in front of them multiple times. And then when you call on them, they have a bit more. What we find, at least within our testing, is that when we pre-warm, and we have a call center in our office, is when we pre-warm people, they're more receptive to talking with us. And okay, so these are some good questions. I'm gonna circle back to these at the end. But Clarissa, if you want to text me if you see any questions related to like me not being clear enough on something, I just want to make sure that, you know, if I almost fully explain something that and someone's hung up on it, that we address that right then. But then other questions we'll circle back to at the end.
Sounds great.
Oh, all right. So now you're in the ad account, and so I'm bringing this in just so you can see what a little closer to what your view will be. So you're in the ad account. I don't tend to use this account overview tab that much. It's not really where you take any action. Where you take action is largely within campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And it's just a logical hierarchy. Campaigns are the top level category within your account. So a campaign is, you'll want to set the objective for your initiative at the campaign level. So let's say you're just trying to get people to see your ads, which I don't recommend. Then you could set the campaign objective to impressions, and then all the ad sets that you build within that campaign will inherit a portion of those settings, so that the controls that you have within the ad sets, which will be aligned with that end goal. So campaigns are basically a folder where you set settings in. The ad set is the group that holds ads, and then ads themselves are, you know, bucketed within the ad sets. And I'll just go ahead and give a live example of that. So let's see. Okay, so here's an old campaign. So the campaign for this, it's I like to use naming structures within my accounts. So that you'll see all these number codes. For me, those each mean something different. Like 8.0 means that they're individual campuses for specific schools, and that it's collections of that. Like 2.0 means it's built out for audience testing, and the structure of the campaign is designed to test different audiences against each other. 3.0 means, for me, it means that it's for testing different ad creative, and simplifying that naming structure just helps. It helps make it easy to just easily distill down what you're looking for. I do recommend it, but whatever you prefer. So we'll look at 2.0 now. So here we're in the ad sets. Actually, I'll go into the campaign settings just so you can see what you can set at the campaign level. So at the campaign level, we set that it's like the buying type is an auction, the campaign objective is conversions. Those are not changeable once the campaign is launched. So it's pretty light. You can see there's no location targeting here. There's no audience targeting. None of that is controlled at the campaign level. All of that is done at the ad set level. So we want to look at this specific one. We'll see, okay, the controls that we have within it is that, okay, so we set for this campaign that it's a website conversion event location. So I've already populated the conversion event in there. We set the daily budget, we set the start date. You can do ad scheduling. So maybe you want the ads to serve at specific times of the day. I don't really find that. It sounds like it would be more useful than it is, but the reality is whenever the people that you want to get in front of are on Facebook is when you want to serve the ad. So it's like, if you think, my audience isn't going to be making buying decisions at 2 a.m., it's like, well, you know what? You're probably just not going to end up delivering that many ads at 2 a.m. So I typically avoid the hourly ad schedules. And then you set the audiences. You can exclude people. So let's say someone's, let's say you have an audience of, maybe for a specific campaign, you want to not target anyone that you've worked with in the past. So you'd load in so right here, what you'd do is you'd load in, what was that audience called? Oh, there it is. So you'd load in the social selling. So then that would make sure that, okay, I only want to target the lookalike audience to my past customers, but with this offer, I don't want to hit my past customers. So that would be an example of the outcome from this audience structure. Now this one is going to be really important for you, is locations. So it's already set to the right one here. That's going to be relevant for your business needs, is targeting people living in this location. Now, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but very important. So age, maybe you have a good idea of, like, you're targeting your lookalike audience, but you're like, hey, you know what? This lookalike audience is pretty broad. And what I noticed is I tend to get most of my sales from people who are over 38. And always keep in mind, if you're spending, it's like, you basically focus on making money and doing what you have to do to keep your business going. So it's like, if you're noticing that you're able to pay the bills by targeting people who are 65 plus, then just target people 65 plus. And then you can work on targeting the other demographics. Like, don't be shy about having a specific demographic that you're winning with and really focusing on them. So there's that. Now there's detailed targeting. So this is also going to be very valuable for you. So you can look at, so maybe you want to see people who just moved into the town. So it's like recently moved. So you could target people who recently moved that are within your lookalike audience. Sometimes what I do is I'll make a 10% lookalike audience, and then I'll layer in these detailed targetings. Because how these audience building tools work is, everyone that's in your custom audiences has to be,
That's sketch, but
basically, if someone isn't following
ask me
your
the
custom
yours,
audience-
because
pardon?
You're good. I just muted somebody that had gone off mute. So
Okay. So how this works is, and there are some exceptions that you can create. Sorry, let me hang this up. But default, how this works is, you have your custom audience. Let's say there's 2 million people within the custom audience you create, the lookalike audience. Then you go down to detailed targeting, and what that does is it expander, getting more. Did Facebook change something on me? Anyways, make sure to read the Facebook audience tools. It used to be like, anyways. So there's a variety of ways that you can target. It's make sure to read through the little icons here. Typically what it's been is, you have your custom audience, and then that's a specific set, say 2 million people. And then when you layer in detailed targeting, it's going to reduce that total addressable audience. So, like, let's say you have 2 million people in your lookalike audience, and then you you have your detailed targeting that you add in of people who recently moved. The end result is the people that you will serve to is just the people who recently moved within your lookalike audience. And it looks like, I'll follow up on that. That's a little surprising. Caught me off guard. Anyways, so here we go down to the placement selection. So automatic placements is very good, but depending on the message that you're wanting to serve, or perhaps where you're seeing results, don't be shy about using manual placements. My favorite placements for generating direct response tend to be really just the feeds, search, and where's that other one? The Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace seems weird, but it's a nice, engaging full screen ad unit. So in my tests, we've seen great results from direct response even. So yeah, it just is an effective ad unit for direct response. And then you can, if you're using the Facebook Audience Network, you can apply block lists or exclude categories. So you can say, hey, you know what? We don't want to get the College Pro message in front of people when they're looking at, maybe we don't want the College Pro brand associated with some of this like very aggressive political discourse. So we're just not going to serve ads on any of that. And now, even if you include this mature inventory, it's really not that mature. Like, don't think that like, oh, I'm excluding porn sites. Like, anything that's explicit is already not available in this inventory. It's just like kind of swear words and like some sexual content, but like it's not as aggressive as perhaps it may look from the name of it. Dating, gambling, the usual stuff. Optimization for ad delivery. I've actually got some interesting stuff on this, but I'm going to walk you through that as I create a brand new campaign for you. And so for this campaign, we're going to walk through building your first campaign, and what that could look like for you. So what I would recommend is, so to get to this screen, so that was supposed to be a little overview. Sorry, I kind of go on tangents. So you're at let's just pretend this screen is like completely empty and looks like this. You hit that create button. I'm going to do it just within this one because I already have the audience list uploaded, and I couldn't upload the audience list in the other account because it's not associated to a business. Okay, so you hit that. You don't need to select that you're creating ads for a special category. It's just for housing, credit, and employment. Then you're going to want to go with auction buying. Reach and frequent buying it's okay. It depends on your goals as a business. It's basically predefined spend. So I tell Facebook that it's basically pre-negotiating ad deliverability. So you tell Facebook, okay, I'm willing to spend $10,000 over the next 2 weeks to hit this audience with these parameters. I'm willing to spend this, and then you pre-negotiate it, and then once you hit launch, you can't go back. So it can be a little tricky because it leads to some inflexibility for the advertiser and reduces your ability to be agile. And okay, so for this, I really recommend going either for conversions or lead generation. Or you could go for messages too, as we discussed before. It just depends, what kind of workflow you want to go with. So for this one, we're going to start with lead generation. So we're going to call this demo do not run 5. I think that's explicit enough. Creating A/B tests right within the campaign creation is very helpful. It allows you to make sure that it basically Facebook creates a cohort within your targeted audience. So it allows you to make sure that experience A is only seen by cohort A and experience B is only seen by cohort B. Whereas when you run a split test within a specific, like within an ad set, you know, both, like some of the people will be exposed to both versions, and it can muddy the results a little bit. By and large, it's still fine to run A/B tests like between ad copy within an individual ad set, but the A/B tests can be useful. So I'll just go through with standard. Okay, and then to confirm, do I have permission to accept the lead ad terms?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So now we're in the ad creation. Pardon. I'm gonna be talking. Need to wet my mouth. All right. So now we're in the ad creation. So the first thing that asks you is, do you want dynamic creative? Dynamic creative is particularly useful for like selling products and goods, and in instances where you have a ton of different inventory that could be relevant to different subsets of your population. So I would say probably not useful for this, but feel free to play around with it if you're curious. So for audience, we already have this audience, so we're gonna just hit the social selling. This is gonna be just a straight remarketing audience. We only want people living in. What city should we do? Where's Quincy located?
Do
Wait,
Ottawa.
Quinton's in Ottawa.
Let's
Yeah.
do Ottawa.
All right. Can be good to just look at your past data of like who you tend to sell to, like how far out does it economically make sense to address customers from, and then just bake that into the radius targeting. Oops. Okay, so for age, because it's a customer list, really doesn't matter. Again, because it's a customer list, languages doesn't matter. Detailed targeting, again, same as above. So we have a clearly defined audience. We really don't need to make any changes here. This connections section, so this is can be useful. What it is it basically allows you to serve to friends of your page. So if you think like, I think the average Facebook user has like 400 or 500 friends, something like that. I kind of pulled that out of the air, so don't quote me too hard on it. But I think it's something in that range. So like, let's say you have 1,000 followers on your page, or maybe even 100 followers on your page. It can be useful, but make sure that if you ever are using the friends of friends as a targeting parameter, that you also layer in, you know, detailed targeting to ensure that you're serving to the people who actually are in market. Because just because they're a friend of someone who is in market, could be their kids, could be, you know, they're just the whole spectrum of people that, you know, people are connected with. The added benefit of using this functionality is that, do you ever see those ads on Facebook and it says like, oh, for Bank of Montreal, Billy Joel, who's my friend, likes Bank of Montreal. When you leverage this connections and you're only serving to people who are friends of friends, when your ad serves, it serves with social annotation. So it includes that recognizable name above the ad serve. So it sort of gives it inspires a little bit of trust within the user, in that there's a connection point there. Now, you don't know how much the user that you're serving to likes that friend that likes your page, but you know, we've found some wins with it. All right. So I typically go for I usually use like the lowest cost option, and then I run my budget based on I basically run bids based on daily budget. But what's probably going to make the most sense is like for you guys, I would say bid cap. Bid cap is going to make the most sense in terms of preventing runaway spend. You might not end up spending the daily budget that you allocate. So let's say you put $20 a day at it. You might only spend $6, but it's going to control. It's going to limit how much you're spending in an auction. So let's say Billy, who's on your targeting list, goes on Facebook. Your ad's going to try to serve to him. It's going to enter the auction, but maybe Bank of Montreal is paying more, and there's some settings where you can, like, and we can circle back around to it, of basically removing all bidding controls and just saying serve, where you could work to outbid Bank of Montreal, but I think it's going to make the most sense to go with a bid cap. And then you set the target cost per lead. So with that, you just want to determine target cost per lead. It's just a simple calculation. Like, what's the average order value? Say average order value is $200. Okay, what's my average close rate per lead? 10%. Okay, that means I break even if I pay $20 per lead. So I want to make sure that I'm having at least a 60% margin, maybe more. So I'll set it at $5. And yeah, and it's not gonna, don't think of this like you're ordering from Amazon, of like, I'm saying I'm paying $5 per lead. It's not that. It's that Facebook is going to basically do its best to optimize how much. It's going to try and learn what your interaction rates are, what your conversion rates are. It's going to base that on projected historic results from similar campaigns, which doesn't mean a whole ton. It's just going to be like average campaigns with these settings and these locations, to determine what it thinks is going to be reasonable bids at first. It's going to adjust based on the results that your account experiences. And so don't think it's just going to be all gravy right out the gate. It might be, but this is by no means a contract. All right. You may get 0 leads. Now, so what this is saying is, so these are some of Facebook's notifications. And as I said, like, you might not spend your whole budget. Facebook is going to give you a lot of notifications that are going to be in its best interest. and you know, maybe it will make sense and it will perform best for you to just do the lowest cost bid strategy, which is a fun name for spend my whole budget. It is a little silly, but so Facebook's going to give you these recommendations. What I say is, if you're looking at the audience that you want to get in front of, I say don't worry about it. It's because Facebook these notifications are based around increasing Facebook's revenue. And what they're seeing is you're willing to spend $20, and the conditions that you set won't spend $20 in a day. So what do we have to do? We have to, you know, get this user to change their account structure. All right. All right. So for Instagram ads, you don't actually need an Instagram account set up to run ads on Instagram. You can run it right through the Facebook page. And what happens when the user sees the ad on Instagram and clicks the little icon that they expect to drive them to the Instagram page is that it'll just give them a little mini splash page on Instagram and let them know that they can view the page on Facebook. So might not make sense to, you know, go through all the effort of building out an Instagram page and also maintaining it. If I were in your shoes, I'd probably just do Facebook. You know, whatever you like. That's good. Okay, so we're going to go with single image or video. Carousel ads can be good. It just depends on what you're trying to communicate. Carousel ad is good if you're offering an inventory. So let's say you're doing painting, window cleaning, yard junk removal, all these things. Maybe that would be an example for a carousel ad. A carousel ad is a swipeable unit that is like this. So you can scroll through it and you can see all the elements. I typically see better results out of single image or video ads, with the exception that carousel ads do the ad unit used on Instagram versus Facebook for carousel ads is actually quite a bit better. Both with the Instagram feed. I just think of it because it's so native for users. Like there's a direct equivalent of like just the swipeable organic posts, whereas on Facebook there's not really that much use of like a swipeable organic post. So it sort of pops out to the user as an ad right out the gate. So I kind of stay away from them on Facebook, but I do use them on Instagram. And then another nice thing is, if you ever see those story ads on Instagram where it's like a 3-unit story, all that is just a carousel ad opted into the story placement. Now it won't render it because I didn't pop it up, but that's all it is. Okay, so we're gonna go with the single image. So we're gonna change image, gonna upload. All right. Hey, we got my headshot there. Wow, look at these bad boys. You want to see a fun one? You know what? Yeah, we're going to show you a fun one. So it can be good. Like we found this, you would never think CDL training is just like a AZ license in Canada. It's basically to become a commercial truck driver. You'd never think, I would have never thought that this ad would have performed. It looks totally off brand. It looks like it would not resonate with the audience. Ended up performing exceptionally. So do keep in mind that it can be good to get creative, because you're in a discovery ad placement and your goal is to stop the scroll, because most of this, like a lot of this content will get skipped over, and having something engaging, having relevant text, just getting them to like that initial emotion that you elicit, or like reaction, like the relevance that the user sees in your post right from that first half second is very important. So just keep that in mind when you're testing. That half the battle is stopping the scroll. And I would recommend using square images, because it costs the same to serve the ad, and on Facebook you end up getting about 30% more inventory, like on the ad display. So here's book your spot in today. Support a local business owner. Let's go. Okay, yeah, this is fine. So you can customize, like let's say you're serving on Instagram and you want to serve a different image on Instagram. You can do all these customizations within the edit placement field here. And then when you select it, it'll just pop that up. So you can do a different crop. You can do different text. You can tailor it so that it's more relevant to you, to your user rather. So here, let's think about this one. So Quentin McKinley's local summer window cleaning. Now we're serving to past customers, and these customers were about to call on them. So what sort of expectations do we want to set, and what is the end goal for this campaign? So I'd say the end goal is, one, establish credibility within the service. Basically, just establish trust, and this is to help basically have her interested in, or whoever the client is that you're calling on, interested in and receptive to your call when you cold call them. But also, secondarily, we want leads. I would say generally, not generally, you always want to focus on one goal. But so with this, we're spending, let's focus on capturing the leads, getting people to book and request services. Now we can do that while also inspiring trust in the service. So they're not, it's not two different goals. It's more of like a flavor that's within the ice cream cone. I don't know. Horrible analogy. Okay. So for this, we'd say something like, professional So first, just restating what you do, just refreshing to the user who you are, what you do. That's pretty self-evident within the image there. And then this ad that I'm writing, I probably wouldn't recommend that you run. I'd want to take a little more time on it. This is just an example of how to think through it.
And just on that, Ian, so you know, in that other folder, and for everyone else on here knows, it's got some pre-generated text for exactly where and what you're writing. So we've got that. People can do whatever they want. You can play with it however you want. That's the beauty of this. But in that other folder, there are some options to be able to, perfect, exactly, you got it here.
Perfect. All right. Oh, and you got the check marks. Awesome. Yeah, check marks are great in the Facebook ads. Okay, so we'll say professional window cleaning services. And then now I created a tool that that allows you to use bold text within your Facebook ads. So if you go to so this just gives you an output that when you put it into Facebook, it will let you keep the text bold. And if you try and go and copy like this text, which looks bold, and paste it into Facebook, it won't render as bold. So if you want to use bold text, can be very helpful for calling attention to specific aspects of your ad copy. This tool also works on Google search and Instagram and Twitter. It doesn't work on Bing, but yeah. So that's a nice thing to have in your tool belt, and it really can help with performance. And headline. Oops, there it is. Don't wait. Okay. And now we get to the instant form. So this is the lead ad unit, and basically every time you make an edit, like you sort of got to make a new one. But what's nice is you don't have to start from scratch each time. You can just inherit the previous settings. So I'll walk you through how we do that. Okay, so form type, more volume, higher intent. So the difference between these two settings is one includes a gateway before the user has the option to submit their information. So it's like the user lands on the lead ad, they have basically your information up front of like, hey, get this, claim this offer, yada, yada. And then they hit continue, and then it takes them to the form. Whereas the more volume one, it includes all of that on one page. So we'll do intro. So it's good to, oops. Good to make sure that you have a strong relation between what we talked about in the ad and what we deliver in this experience. I kind of like bullets. At least in our testing, we found that when we used the bullet format, we had a higher pass-through rate. I suppose it does depend on what the messages you're trying to communicate. If it's more effectively communicated through a paragraph, go with paragraph. For us, a lot of stuff of like education and employment, it's talking about specific benefits or like costs or timeline for training. So those were better fielded through bullets. Let's say. Okay. So then we ask the questions. So like what are going to be the relevant relevant information? So like probably phone number. It typically, when you're asking for personal information from people, it's generally best to lead with the least personal information first. So I go with email first, then phone number, or like if you're asking for zip code, include that before email. The logic for that, this is actually based on working with some people at Quicken Loans with their lead optimization process. So they did a lot of testing around, like, okay, what form fields and what categories of fields should we ask in what order to drive the best down funnel results. And what they found is start with the least personal, get people to start saying yes, and then you can get into more and more personal information. And if you think about like Quicken Loans, they're, you know, multi-billion-dollar company that largest mortgage lender in the United States. They end up asking a lot of very personal information, like social security number, how much you make, all of this, you know, very, very intrusive stuff. But they start with zip code. So it's good to, whenever you're building a form, just think least personal to most personal. And then maybe you need address. Well, you can, how do we add that? Oh, here we go. Boom. And then privacy policy. So we need to link to the College Pro privacy policy. And then you can include a custom disclaimer. I kind of, sometimes I like just doing a very plain English custom disclaimer, because like the user is going to see this anyways. You can have that typical, just, you know, legal language. I think sometimes people find it nice to you know, just have a little plain English description of what exactly you're going to do with their personal information. But yeah, so it's I think it's good. Like that. You can, you know, if so, this is going to be more applicable, like if there's certain consents that that people have to, like, maybe like for certain industries there's like double opt-in requirements, and like so that's where this will come into play. I don't see that you need it. Okay, So then we go to thank you screen. For thank you screen, this is surprisingly important. So make sure, set expectations of what's going to happen. If you're going to call them in maybe 12 hours, don't tell them that to stand by their phone and that you're going to call them right away. Just say, like, hey, we're going to call you. If you'd like, feel free to call us at this number to get a quicker appointment. Like something to just set fair, reasonable expectations with the user that you will deliver on. It's just, they've given you the information. Now they're a little vulnerable, or not vulnerable, but just like wondering what you're going to do with it. And, you know, make sure that you set fair expectations for them. And now you can have a visit website thing, or maybe you have a white paper. That's more applicable for like B2B marketing. If you're like maybe selling like a CRM software, it's like you run a lead ad and you say, download this white paper. So that's what all the expectations in the previous slides would have been setting. And so then the end result is they get to download the white paper. Or maybe it's call business. Like, hey, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to call me right now. And then that would be an example of when it would make sense to use the time of day parsing for when you serve ads, because you probably don't want someone calling you at 2 a.m. if they're a night. But yeah, so you've got some options there. It's really just going to drill down to whatever makes the most sense for your needs. I think probably call, just because what sort of valuable action are they going to take on your website? Like, how are you going to incrementally monetize that? Probably not. Whereas with a phone call, then you give them the opportunity to instantly connect with you right when they express their need. So but just for this case, I'm going to use this just because I don't want to put in the phone number. Okay. So sorry if I'm going a little too in the weeds here. But what I'm also going to send you is, so what I'm really hoping with this is, so I'm giving you a lot of sort of deep dive info here. You know, some of it might not be making complete sense of like, okay, how does this fit into my business needs and the marketing plan that I'm going to roll out? Well, what I'm going to be sending over is a clear step-by-step guide from Facebook on how to set this up also. And it's the exact same guide that I send to my team, or send to my new hires to get them acquainted. It typically takes, just a couple hours. What's nice is Facebook really focused on really making the ad platform user-friendly. So it's a fair bit easier than learning Google Ads. Okay. So we're going to finish. Boom. Now we have the form. So that's the lead ad, and we're just about done here, guys. Oops. Did I turn it live? No. Boom. Okay, so all that little extra weird stuff, you guys won't experience that. I have a bit different of access. All right, so this is actually done. So based on what we built, the ad is set up. It's we're targeting people who are past customers. These are the very same people that you'd be going and knocking on their door, and that you'd be going and and phone calling. With that, we distilled it down into the individual ad set of just targeting people 20 miles around Ottawa, and then we rolled out that ad. So that ad is going to serve on Facebook, on Instagram. It's going to collect their information, and now we're going to look at where that user information goes. So the user created a lead ad. Now where does the lead ad go? So to find that, it's quite simple, and I included a step-by-step screenshot in the deck. Is you just go to your Facebook page. So just pretend this says Clarissa's business cleaning thing. Actually, why pretend? Let's just, or wait, what is it? Quincy. Okay. And then you go, and because you've created the business manager, now when you visit the page on desktop, you're going to have the option to view the business manager page. And this is basically, you can just think of this as like the admin or like the back end. And then you just click more, publishing tools, because it's a tool related to publishing because we were publishing ads. And then we'd go to lead forms. So it's just right there, right front and center. Boom. We just go to forms library. And then this was the untitled form. And then I just hit download. And that would give me all the leads. And then you can connect this to a CRM. I believe whatchamacallit. I believe Clarissa is going to be working on that to set up a seamless process. But yeah, even if you don't, you can just download them, and then you can also just connect them into your pre-existing CRM. All right. Okay, so I think that's pretty well it. And it's really a similar workflow, like when you're making the ad that goes to the messenger settings. Like I encourage you to just poke around, try the different settings, try the different options, and run some tests. I shared some resources. So I chatted with my Facebook rep. I tried to get you guys some free money. Didn't quite work. Maybe it will. They asked me to share with you guys this this resource on COVID grants that Facebook has rolled out. They're offering about 300 million plus of ad dollars for companies impacted by COVID. So the requirements for eligibility is that you have a business with between 2 and 50 employees. So each of the franchises would count as a business, and that your workflow has been impacted by COVID. So I'd say I shared the link with Clarissa. So I'd say fill it out, make your point, talk about that you can't go door to door, and that you want to deliver ads on online. And I can't say, I just don't know what the odds of approval are, but my rep is usually pretty good to me, so I don't think she'd be just sending you down a rabbit hole. All right.
And how are you feeling for a Q&A?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I sort of ran over. I'm sorry, guys, if I
That's all
murdered
right.
your Saturday afternoon there. But yeah, I'm fine. I've got probably 25 minutes.
Okay, I've got some good questions here that everyone was asking. First of all, thank you so much for taking us through that. I know I know for us, a lot of us are starting on a ground level. So we are going to go back and watch exactly what you were saying, just so that we make sure we can apply it to our businesses. But it's still really good. I know there's a lot of detail you can go into with Facebook. I think this will give us a good place to start. One of the big questions, and Owen asked this, and I know Aaron, when he was walking through, ran into some issues too. When they were right at the beginning, when you're setting up, they're running into an issue where it's saying that you need permission from their business to create an audience using a customer list. Do you know what would be the
Yes.
issue there?
Yep. So that was so I'll go back to the share. So all that is, so I think I included a screenshot of it. No, I didn't. Okay. Well, so all that is you just have to populate your business identity within your own individual account creation. So it's not that there needs to be any other business. It's just that your business has to be set up. And where that's set up is right here. Is you go into that first link that I shared, and once the ad accounts loads up, it's just populating this info. So
Okay,
yes, I'm buying ads for business purposes. Enter the business name. Quincy. Change currency. Oh yeah. And then, so what you saw with the stuff about change ad account, it's once you set your currency, you have to create a new ad account in order to change the currency. Facebook does that because otherwise reporting, because like changes in relative currency values, it can get messy with reporting within the interface. So yeah, really, you just populate all the info here, save changes, boom.
Okay. So because you've already got yours set up and you're out in the US, that's why it's the way it is. But for our guys, we'll be setting it up brand new, so we can set our currency to CAD. Then we'll set up our business, and then we won't need to ask permission from anything, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Hopefully that answered it.
Yeah, and if you run into any issues, just feel free to write them out and shoot them over to me or Clarissa. You can maybe we can schedule a call sometime next week, and I can get those sorted out for you.
Great. Okay. I think the next question we had here from Muzamil was, how is customer privacy looked at through this process when you upload our past customers? He was concerned that we're dropping that whole list of customer data into Facebook. Yeah.
So Facebook, so what they do is it's a, what is it? Oh, I don't remember the specific name, but it's hashed data. So Facebook isn't storing their actual like contact information. Facebook loads it in, pairs it to a set of accounts, and then you have that set of accounts as an addressable audience within the ad account. And you can see that within the 8,800 member audience being whittled down to 4,000 of paired accounts. How the security is handled is from that ads manager where you have all these user audiences or like these custom audiences, is you can then determine who you want to share that audience with, or if you want to share it with no one. As default, that audience is only addressable from your business manager account. or your ads manager account rather. But then you could go in and share it with, College Pro corporate. Let's say you find this great user list audience that you buy online, and you find, okay, we're getting great success. I want to share this audience with College Pro. Yeah, you just can. It's
Okay, great. The next question here was from Calvin, and he said, when using the lead option as a landing for an ad, I know it makes sense to have as few fields as possible for them to fill out to make it convenient. Is there any info you get given automatically? So such as a name, so that we can only have 2 fields, be the phone number and postal code if the name is already provided.
No. All information that is passed from the user is aware of before it gets sent.
All right, excellent. Hopefully that answered that there, Calvin. Let me see, Carter had a question here. We're all based in Canada, so I know you're down in the US, so for us it's postal codes. He was wondering, is there a specific way to select specific postal codes for the location, or is it just a radius?
Yeah, you can just do postal code targeting. The only time when you can't use postal code targeting is if you're marketing like for housing offers, for employment opportunities, or for credit or like financial services. In those cases, Facebook only allows you to do radius targeting with, in Canada, I believe it's a minimum of a 20-kilometer radius.
Okay, awesome. I'm just looking through the list that I've compiled here. I actually had a question, was, do you suggest a good spending range for our types of ads? We'll be focusing mostly on, are you interested in getting your windows cleaned, or maybe offering a discount to our homeowners on Facebook? So what would be a good spending range?
So that's going to depend on how large the addressable audience is. So I would say, like within that whole data set where we had 4,000 members matched, okay, if we're looking at one specific market, maybe there's 500 addressable audience members within it. Maybe it's like 300. If you're only hitting that many people, I would so you're just doing the remarketing campaign, I would say like $2 a day, really. Because the thing is, it's a relatively small amount of people. You want to look at the average cost per ad serve, like what it typically costs to win an auction. An auction is basically just when your ad serves or is visible to an individual, and usually that's around, for direct response type marketing, it's typically around like $10, $12 CPM, and that might even be a little on the high side. So you got to think of, okay, if there's only 300 people on this list that are within 20 miles of my business, if I spend more than really $1 to $2 a day, I'm gonna end up way overpaying on delivering ads to them. Typically, if you're serving to people, I shoot for, if I know the audience is in market, I try and hit them 4 to 7 times per month. So if you're running ads, maybe you're running if you're running $5 a day against 300 people, you're going to end up serving like 25 ads to them on average in a month, which gets to the point of it being annoying for the user. So yeah, just for remarketing, I'd say like really, yeah, $1 to $2 a day. And then for prospecting, it really depends on what sort of results you're seeing. Because if you're serving to an audience that's of like 70, 80, 120,000, depending on the city, if you're in like downtown Toronto, I would say scale it in line with the returns that you're receiving. So like start with a budget that you're comfortable with, and then just slowly walk your way up.
Excellent. All right. We had a question from Catherine, and this was more, maybe actually Aaron could weigh in. It's a little bit of our context being in College Pro, but she said, so for adding our audience lists which for us is our PC lists.
Mhm.
Should we just not include those numbers with the DNC, do not call? You had mentioned a little bit about it, and she just wanted some clarity.
Yeah. So for the do not call restrictions, targeting them via Facebook ads, at least to my understanding, is not any violation of their opt out. I'm trying to think, what is it? The Can Spam Act that I'm just a little. I might be a little rusty on compliance regulations for Canada, but it would. I would be. It's just a fundamentally different medium. So it's opting out of receiving phone calls and telecommunication. You're just on a completely different platform. So I didn't remove any of the DNC numbers. I just removed like the DNC annotation.
Okay, excellent. So just removing the text from that list.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And then,
Oh, go ahead.
in the United States, like if someone is on the do not call list, or like opts to say like, hey, I don't want to receive future communication, if they go and fill out a form, it does bring them back into your addressable audience. So I don't know how you guys are handling that, but even if they've rejected communication in the past, they fill out a new form, basically, at least for us, we're able to hit them again. And I think it's like 90 days that we're allowed to address them again before we're not allowed to, for basically they go back on do not call.
Excellent. Okay. We had a question from Aaron, and this was more related to working with a business manager account, which I'll be setting up for all of College Pro. So Aaron was saying he added his page to the business manager account, and then in the business manager, it said request pending, but on his Facebook page, he couldn't find where to accept that request. Do you have any insight for us on how you could accept the business manager request?
Was that just a timing thing? Because again, full disclosure, I went to add the College Pro. I was just gonna follow along and play around with the College Pro Facebook page, and I got that. Again, if you're gonna upload a custom audience, you need to have it needs to be connected to a business. I filled that stuff out. It sent me to Business Manager, so I created a quick Business Manager account. Within Business Manager, it asked me to add the page, which I did. And then it just says request pending. So I don't know if it means time, like it just it's got to process it.
The pending request will be sent to the email of whoever's. So it'll be sent to two places. It'll be accessible through the notifications bar of the account that it was sent to, and also notification bar of any individuals who have admin privileges on the account that it was sent to, and then it'll also be sent as an email to the same places. Yeah, I'm happy to QA that, because I've had some issues where like I had to send clients like a specific link to click on in order to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can help you QA that. It's pretty painless. I probably take 5 minutes, not even.
Okay, great. Luann asked a question. When I try to create the customer list, it shows that the feature is unavailable, and it may take several weeks before they unlock this feature. Do you have any insight on running into that roadblock?
Ooh, can I get a screenshot of that?
Yeah, actually, Luann, if you can screenshot that and send it over either to me or in the WhatsApp, we can get it over to Ian.
Yeah, that's brand new. I have no insights there, but I can look into it.
Okay, great. Eric had a question here. How would you go about retargeting leads that filled out the on Facebook lead form? Would you just populate their info into a new PC list? And then he added a second piece here. If you would also be able to touch on creating a lookalike audience from those same leads that filled out the form.
You got it. Okay, I can do this in not even 2 minutes here. Okay, so within Facebook, when you're building audiences, I touched on it earlier that there's a number of different data sources that you can create custom audiences from. So one of those custom audiences data sources is actually lead ads. So boom, you just select the page. Anyone who opened the form, but didn't. Oh shoot, I'm not sharing.
Ian, yeah, we can't see your screen on our end. Thank you.
Okay, I got so excited. Okay, here we go. So you go into the audiences, create audience, custom audience, and lead forms are just another data source that you can create audiences from. And what's nice about this is you only have to do it once, and then the list will be perpetually updated. So let's say you're trying to hit people that I don't know, and there are limits for all these different data sources. There are time decay limits. So like for website visitors, you can only target people that visited your site within the last 180 days. For the lead ads, you can only target people who opened or submitted the lead ad within 90 days. And then like for on Facebook activity, like watching a video, you can only target for up to 365 days. But yeah, so you can say, okay, you really want to get back in front of people who maybe they opened the form, but they didn't submit the info. So it's like, you know that they were at least in market enough to find your ad appealing, but you weren't able to get them to make that commitment right there. And you want to try serving them with a different experience. So then all you do is always make sure to use structured naming structures within audiences. So what I mean by that is just clearly state that it's lead ad audience, 90 days. Yeah, it's very important to do this because otherwise there's really no easy way to distill down what the conditions were that created that audience. And you kind of can, but it just takes so much more time. All right, and then and then we have to select a specific form. You can select multiple forms. Let's say you have 10 different lead forms that you made. You can select all 10, or maybe 5 of them are for a specific offer, and those are the only people that you want to re-engage with this campaign that's targeting this specific audience. Well, then you can do that also. So then you'd create the audience. I'm actually not going to create the audience just because I'm going to be removing my access from this page and deleting all this. So I just for the sake of cleanliness. But yeah, that's how you do it off of off of the lead ad audience. And then another really valuable one is if you start running video ads, is that can be a great source for building audience lists. Is people who watch 95% of your video. Let's say you created a video that's 30 seconds long and it's talking about something relevant to, or that potential buyers would find engaging. Well, okay, maybe a lot of these people didn't take an action right now, but you know that like for these video placements, they're skippable or scroll past, like people can scroll past and they don't have to watch 95% of it. So you can then create an audience based on those people who decided that, hey, this info is relevant to me. I want to watch at least, like I'm watching this video. We found some good success with that.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I think if people haven't seen it yet, we've got some TikToks floating around. So hopefully they can throw those in there as videos in their ads. But I think we just have 2 questions left that I know of. If anyone else has any other questions, please just put them in the chat. And we're very lucky to have Ian's time right now. So if you have questions, let's get them answered. But the last question here is, how long should a Facebook ad be run approximately? And it says Facebook gives the option to choose the range of your ad. What would you say is typically the best? And then there's a follow-up question, but I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah. So I say run it till it stops working. Like I'm currently running ads, some ads that I built in like 2016. And the reason is they're still performing, still doing, delivering great results. So I'd say make sure that, that the content that you're promoting is still relevant, and then also be aware that you're not delivering that ad to your audience too much. How you can determine if you're delivering it too much is looking at a metric called frequency. You can view frequency by let me make sure I share screen. So you can you see my screen? Did I do that right?
No, we can't see it on our end.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, we're good.
So make sure that actually this is something very, very good question. So I want to make sure that that I show you these two key points. Is when you're measuring the performance, or really when you're going in to look at your ads, there's two big metrics that you want to look at outside of cost per lead, and those are frequency and CPM. Those are visible within, you go to columns, performance, and then performance and clicks. And here what it does is it shows you of the number of people that we served the ads to. Like for this campaign, I served ads to 2.5 million people. And within that, I served 10 million impressions. So what that means, 2.5 million people saw the ads basically 4 times, 3.99 times each. And cost per result was fine. And yeah, so you want to, so frequency and CPM. So when you notice CPM go up, CPM is the cost per 1,000 ad serves. So it's basically telling you how competitive you are in the auction. Like, are you bidding too much for a specific, to get ads in front of a specific audience? Like sometimes you can see things where it's like, okay, to serve 10 ads in a day to this audience, it costs $1. To serve 11 ads to this audience in one day, it costs $2. So in that instance, it's like, okay, it doesn't make sense to spend $2 per day. It makes sense to spend $1 per day because the incrementality of doubling the budget was just not reflected in the down funnel results. So keep mind of CPM, and as you're scaling your budget, like say you're seeing success with a lookalike audience and you're increasing your budget because you're like, shoot, I'm getting some good leads, I'm closing these. I want to really increase this budget. Be mindful of the frequency and CPM, because those will dictate how much, basically how much true inventory of potential leads are available within that audience to hit. Because if you spend too much for the audience, CPM goes way up. And if you serve way too many ads to the audience, well, you're already capturing the in-market audience based on the 4 ad serves per month. You don't need to deliver 12 ad serves per month.
All right. And then last but not least here was from Tarek. And he said, do we need a custom audience? What happens if we don't put a custom audience? And I know you've got to get going, Ian, so yeah, we'll respect your time.
Yeah, you don't need a custom audience. You can just use like something that could be good for you guys is like, okay, so what I would recommend if I was building for you and I wasn't using the target audience would be, I would. So I would just leave custom audiences empty. I'd go down to detailed targeting, go to browse, demographics, financial, income. I'd take top 10% of earners, maybe even top 5%, test those against each other. And then I'd make sure locations people living in, and then to make sure that I'm not getting people that maybe have one or two windows on their property. Maybe they live in a very expensive area, but it's, you know, they've got a 800 square foot apartment. Still very nice, but you know, probably not in market. So I'd select the narrow option. It's like the narrow audience. Then I go to browse, demographics, homeowners. How do I find that? Let's see. Ooh, did they remove that? Let's see what other options. Maybe I'd go to education level. I could say, okay, of my in-market audience, I can see that people tend to have this education level. I could go to work. I could go to job titles. I could say, let's just hit VPs. Oh man, some of these have been stripped a little bit. But yeah, I would recommend just digging through these available audiences, and looking at what you see as relevant to your buyer profile, and trying to distill down, you know, what that combination is.
Okay, excellent. That's great. Yeah, I actually think up in Canada, we actually can't target people with their household income. It's not an option for us. So we'll have to take a look at career and potentially some of these other demographics. But what it sounds like is if we don't have a custom audience, we can go in and make our own audience off of our own assumptions. So that's great.
Yeah, and for Facebook, for like the US, it's only, so it's not actually taking any individual association for the income. It's only basing it on the zip code that Facebook presumes you live in. So it's just like, so it's basically like a location mask that you apply on top of your targeting. So like if that's not available as a detailed targeting option, you could always just upload postal codes that you know are, you know, tend to have houses that are interested in your services.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, I don't have any more questions that have come in on the chat, and this has been very informative, Ian. Thank you so much. You know, we're very lucky again to have you give us your time on a Saturday, which is super rare. So thank you so much. I know we're all going to look back on it and really dig into it and try to get some of our ads up. So I guess I'll pass it over to Aaron there, but thanks again, Ian. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And one last note is, you know, everybody, don't forget the Ontario SPCA. So if you guys liked this this presentation, you know, make sure to give them some love. So, and that's all I got. Happy to answer some questions offline. You know, like tomorrow or Tuesday, and but yeah, you know, thank you guys. It was nice to be able to help out here, and it's, you know, I found Facebook marketing and really digital marketing as a whole incredibly valuable for me. You know, I got into it about 11 years ago. I really didn't know what I was doing when I first launched, but I was fortunate enough to be paired up with a nonprofit that I felt passionate about, and, you know, motivated me to really learn the tools. And since then, it's been incredible. Like the impact that it's had on my life, and also the impact that through that I've been able to have on businesses. So I really wish you guys the best here, and hope you guys see great success.
Thanks, Ian. And
Can I just say something? Do you
go ahead,
mind,
Tony.
Do you mind,
Jump in.
Aaron?
Go ahead.
Ian, I know College Pro is going to be donating to the SPCA. I'm going to do so personally as well. Thank you. If there's something you think we could do for you.
No, I'm all good.
Nope. Just think. No, don't answer it now. But you're gonna at some point you're gonna have a problem that maybe 120 entrepreneurs can help you solve. In Canada, that you've given your 2 hours to here, and you're certainly Dan's network. I think Dan's still around somewhere on this in my network. It means so much to us. You got a lot of College Pro's been around for 49 years, and we built over 20,000 entrepreneurs who've made huge differences in the world. So if there's also something we can do for you, think about it. You never know. Because you spent your time here. We're happy to make a donation to the SPCA, but also you got to give a little bit too, and you may not know when you need us, and we'll be there too.
Well, thank you, Tony. I really appreciate that, and yeah, just thank you. So we'll we can chat more later. But I appreciate it, and really appreciate the donations to SPCA. So.
Well, we have many animal lovers to the point with our WhatsApp. We had to create a separate channel for everyone because there's so many pictures of clients' dogs that end up in there, and cats. So there's a lot of a lot of built-in support. And Sam, she graciously said if we did decide to adopt a dog in your honor, that she'd be happy to take it. So, and again, Ian, thanks so much.
Yeah, and if you do adopt it in Dave Collada's honor, because that's anyways, long story, but really like SPCA, and really appreciate getting to share this with you guys today. So,
thanks. Well, again, we appreciate having you, and I couldn't echo Tony's thoughts more. If you need anything, we've said that before in our first conversation. All right, just let us know. And again, thanks for your time today, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.